And hello, car lovers. Welcome to the CNC Auto Show, and I am Aaron Clements.
I'm John Ryan.
And we are here to give you information on ways to make your car, truck, or SUV safer, to make it more dependable, and to make it last longer for less money and less hassle. And before I say another word, I want to say that on this day, 18 years ago, a very special little boy was born. His name is Brad Clements. Happens to be my son.
Yeah.
I want to tell him happy birthday. He's a really neat guy, and we love him very much. Okay, our team would also like to say thank you to all of you that ride with the CNC Auto Show. And we're now in 7 states, and we really do appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your weekend. And it really does mean a lot to our team, John Ryan and I, and the entire team, that we're able to do that. We enjoy it very much, and thank you for allowing us to do that. And we hope you join in from time to time, too. We're here to take your phone calls. That number is 706-863-5800. That's on Saturday mornings, 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time. And at that time, you can catch us live on iHeartRadio, WGAC, and watch us live on Facebook at CNC Auto Show. And we do invite you joining us. And if you or a friend are looking for a good, dependable auto repair facility, I recommend going to NapaAutoCare.com. And you can hit the little search box in the right-hand corner, and you'll find a list of some of the best automotive repair facilities that you could ever imagine. A lot of good people on there. How many's in the U.S., John?
I believe 15,000.
Got about 15,000, somewhere around in there. So that way, if you're taking a trip somewhere and you have a car issue and you say it sure would be nice to know where someone was at that I could call and let them look at this and see what needs to be done, you do a little search right there and you'll be able to find it. Okay, jump in, close the door, and we have a great show planned. And our main thing is to answer your automotive questions, but the theme of the show is sounds and smells. So along with you calling in and asking those questions, and that's any kind of question, a bump, a rattle, whether a service should be done on your car, something that's been doing this for a long period of time and you just love to know a little bit more about it, you call. But we'll also, along with that, be touching on things to do with smells and sounds that your car might make.
Right.
There's a lot of these things that your vehicle might, little sounds and smells that your vehicle might make that it may be trying to tell you something.
That's right. Could be.
Yeah. And if you catch them early, a lot of times it may save you a lot of time and a lot of money. It may save you from breaking down. What smell do you think is more common?
I would probably say like a sweet smell, like coolant.
Yeah.
Coolant
Dripping.
Probably,
and
probably
usually if
common.
it's making some kind of sweet smell, that means it's dripping on something hot.
Right, exactly. It's starting to
So
burn.
you can normally look for something in the upper side of it.
Right.
I would say that one that I get from time to time is a musky smell.
Oh, yeah.
Inside
that
a
too,
car.
Yeah. Inside of it. Yep.
Yeah, and of course one of the things that we always talk about when someone comes in and they have a musky smell, we say, has the cabin air filter been looked at?
Yeah, or been changed.
Yeah, in most cases, people are pretty good about letting you know if you need a cabin air filter during a normal service.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times people don't. So, and I've had people that may have a car that they've had it 8-9 years.
Right.
And I say, do you, and they may be a new person coming in, and I say, when's the last time your cabin air filter was changed? And they say, what cabin air filter?
Yeah,
what
is
that?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I say, well, the cabin air filter kind of filters the air before it comes into the cabin of the vehicle.
Right.
Gets out the dust and pollen and bugs and all the other things that float around in the air.
Right.
And you pull it out, and it looks like this humongous item full of all of that stuff above.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's real nasty, and it smells, and you put a new one in, and it don't immediately go away because it takes time to get all of that out. But eventually, once you get all it pulls out everything from the box and kind of cleans it out a little bit.
Yeah, and it doesn't stress the blower motor as much. It allows more circulation through there. So.
Yeah, that does create a lot of resistance on the blower motor.
Yeah, for sure.
On there also. Okay, let's go ahead and give a tech tip quiz.
Okay.
And the winner will receive a prize package. And, of course, the prize package includes a hat or a coffee mug and the I Answered the CNC Auto Show Tech Tip Quiz shirt.
All right.
And this is something that's amazing to own. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. Okay, here it is. This one will be very quick. Let me see. I'm going to do a second one there. Okay. This one is short and sweet. I'm going to just do a quick one during the first hour. Name at least six vehicles that are named after something to do with the American Indian heritage.
Okay.
6 vehicles. And if you're the first to call in and can tell us what 6 vehicles that you have that would fall under that category, then you will win that shirt. So give us a call. Okay, again, the number 706-863-5800. All right, we will go ahead and mention some of the things that some of the other smells. A lot of calls come in already on that one. We'll mention a lot of the some of the other smells. That a burnt paper smell, or what would you think on that?
Gosh, burnt paper. Something burning. No.
Yeah. Well, in a way, that's what it's after. And this would be it would be hard to describe this type smell. But the smell of like a wire burning.
Wire burn? Okay.
Yeah. Burning wires and things like that. That's one of those type smells you want to try to go ahead and get some help pretty quick.
For sure.
Because it could be the insulation that is burning inside there that's making some of this.
A lot of times the wiring harness may be contacting exhaust or something like that. So.
Yeah. So just about any burning smell you want to go ahead and address pretty quickly.
Right.
Ready to go to the calls?
Yeah, let's go over to John here.
Okay, let's do it. Hello, John. Welcome to the CNC Auto Show. And what could we help you with this morning?
I'm going to try the Tech Tip.
Fantastic. Okay, hold on. Let us get you on stage.
Just kidding.
Okay. All right. We are ready for you to answer our Tech Tip quiz.
Okay, Pontiac, Cherokee, Aztec, Navajo, and the Comanche.
Okay, is that 6? Okay.
I thought that was 5.
Okay, you said Pontiac?
Uh-huh.
Aztec?
Pontiac, Aztec, Cherokee, Apache, oh boy. Now I forgot the other one.
Oh, John. You're so close, man.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
The pressure is on. Do the little timer there. John, we're going do.
Yeah.
All right.
Do I get half the prize?
John, you ran out of time. You were close, though. You got that many. You helped somebody else more than likely.
Yeah, I bet I did.
Okay. The number to call, 706. Thank you, John. Number to call, 706-863-5800 if you have a question about your car, truck, or SUV. We're talking about smells, but one thing I'd like to touch on that I thought was kind of neat is that they say that the newer Nissan Leafs, now this is more a rumor right now, but they're expected to be announced very soon.
Yeah.
It will have a much longer range than it did before, which that's been one of the big issues with a lot of the EV cars is, of course,
how
the
far
range.
they'll go, yep.
It seems like every few months they're announcing plans to make a vehicle with a longer or an extended range from what it was before.
Right.
And so that's getting better and better. But this Nissan Leaf will be coming out with some autonomous type abilities on there. Wow. We'll cover that more during the next segment because it's time to take a real quick break. And we'll do that, and we'll be right back after these messages. And we are back with you on the CNC Auto Show. And we are answering automotive questions, but we're also talking about sounds and smells that your car may be making that you may want to know what it is.
Yep, might be trying to tell you something.
Exactly, and telling what it is may save you some time and money. One very common item, I would say, that falls under both categories, probably a little bit more toward the sound thing, is things to do with your brakes.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
And, of course, one common sound has to do with squealing noise.
Yeah.
John
normally
Ryan,
the beginning of it, isn't
yeah,
it?
mention what they started putting on brake pads that have saved people a huge amount of money
Oh, yeah, of
on
course.
having to buy rotors.
Yeah, so brake pads now have, well, I say now, probably within the last 15 years or so?
Yeah, something like that.
They actually have a brake squealer installed on them, and it's a little piece of metal that actually contacts the trailing edge of the brake pads. And what it does is it actually, when you squeeze the brakes, it will actually contact the rotor and just barely drag just enough to, well, sorry, I said that wrong. Not when it's stopping, but as it's rolling, if the brake pads are thin enough, the squealer will be contacting the rotor, and it'll cause a squeal, almost a constant squeal, to let the driver know that, of course, the brakes are needing replaced. But the confusing part is when the brakes are applied, a lot of times the squeal will go away, and that's because that squealer is making more contact with it in the brake pads, and sometimes it can even flex enough to come off the rotor a little bit. So that can be a little bit confusing, but typically if you hear squealing without touching the brakes and you're just rolling down the road, that's an indication that they're bad.
And I've had it both ways. I've had it to where it would make the high-pitched squealing noise just as you're rolling down the road, and then you barely touch the brakes and the noise go away.
Right.
And I've had cases to where it would make the noise only when you apply the brake. I feel like it depends on how far it's worn.
Yeah.
A lot
but
of
I've
other
also
factors.
had people bend those out of the way and keep going.
Yeah,
So.
and then they definitely do need rotors eventually.
Typically, after that, if you just ride and just ignore that message, so to speak, the pads, the stopping material, will wear off to the point to where it's the backing plate contacting the rotor, and of course it would do damage to the rotor and need to be replaced at that point.
Exactly. And another noise that I have that we
deal with
has to do with squealing brakes. Especially when the brakes get a little bit warm and you apply the brakes and they will squeal. A lot of times that don't necessarily mean that your brakes are worn out, but it could be a sign that the brakes are glazed over.
They're glazed over, or maybe even possibly installed not necessarily incorrectly, but not followed all the steps, the procedure as far as lubricating all the moving parts,
or not a good quality pad.
Or not machining the rotors. I mean, the list goes on and on.
We switched over to the ADO pads from Napa a good many years back, and they have just been fantastic to go with. You ready to take a call?
Yeah, let's go over to Rick.
All right. Hello, Rick.
Morning, guys.
Welcome to the CNC Auto Show, and what can we help you with this morning?
Yes, sir. I was wondering, I've got a 2016 Honda Odyssey that we've actually already put a lot of miles on, but went into the dealer the other day at $32,000. They're wanting me to do a bunch of services to it, including cabin air filter, some of the other things that go along with the B1 service. I'm just wondering, is that service really necessary every 30,000 miles, or can you wait till the 60,000 interval? Because we're not getting any smells in the cabin filter, and everything's chugging along good. Most of those miles are highway miles. We were commuting quite a bit from Columbia until we moved back to Augusta, so I'm just wondering, are those 30,000-mile services extremely important, or can you stretch it to the 60,000 and do it all then?
Yeah, Rick, I think that's a great question. As far as your cabin air filter, of course, you could always check it and see the condition of it. If you removed it and it did look clean, it's just like your house filter. Of course, if it still looked clean after a month, you probably wouldn't replace it. So you may be able to stretch that to 60,000 miles. And it also depends on where you park your car and the kind of the elements the car is in. A lot of times we see vehicles that are parked under a pine tree, and you could replace those every other time you drive it. So that may or may not be dirty. What other services did they say was recommended?
I believe they're saying a transmission flush and maybe even a coolant flush, what they call the B1 service, which is the light that comes on automatically. But it's the last Odyssey that I had, we traded it for $400,000, but I waited until the 60,000 mile marker to do it.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with the driving conditions that somebody wants. It is very, very possible to extend some mileage ranges that you deal with as far as certain services. What we normally do is just do the inspection side of it, and we'll let it, for instance, let you know if the cabin air is definitely needed right then, or if it's something you could wait for another year on.
And that's kind of the same thing with the transmission fluid too, because based on the condition of the transmission fluid, again, you said most of it was highway miles, so it's not the typical stop and go kind of wear and tear on a transmission. So having that fluid inspected to the point to see if it's dirty or if it's clean, that would definitely let you know.
And they did not do a bad thing mentioning these items to you, because now you're aware of them, that it's coming due.
Right.
But for instance, the transmission flush, if you've got if the transmission fluid is still clean, has a good red color to it,
red tint, yeah,
and not discolored in any way, you would be absolutely fine to extend that a little bit. On the coolant, waiting another.
Same thing. I mean, you want to check the protection level, the condition of it, of course, the level. So 30,000 miles is kind of in my opinion, more of an inspection versus, an absolute must-do service.
But let's say that if you had a vehicle that you were driving under really dusty conditions and you were driving it kind of fairly hard, especially pulling a boat or a trailer or something like that, and you were in mountainous area,
I'd automatically
then
say yes.
High probability you would be due for a trans service, you would be due for a cabin air filter, and all of these things would be needed.
Right.
But really the inspection is what would tell you more. So there's a lot of gray area in that on extending it. Now, going ahead and doing it at 30,000 miles more than likely wouldn't be a bad thing at all.
Right.
But extending it would more than likely be absolutely fine, too, if it's inspected and made sure that there's no discoloration on the fluid, and that the cabin air filter is not stopped up or anything along those lines.
And I guess in short, it really depends on your budget. If you can afford it, do it. If you can't, stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, you can wait. I mean, and how many miles did you get on your other one, Rick?
We had almost 80,000 on it when we traded it. And the only reason we traded it wasn't anything wrong with the vehicle, just that when we bought that vehicle 2.5 years prior, we really didn't buy the options that we wanted. So I actually took it in for the 75,000 mile service. And while it was being serviced, I actually walked around and picked out another vehicle and just let them keep it and hold the bill. So
all right,
it actually worked out better for us to do it at that time. Can I tell y'all a quick story I had about?
Yeah, Rick. Do you mind if we put you on hold through the break?
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, Rick. We'll be back with more of the CNC Auto Show. Welcome back to the CNC Auto Show. Another smell that from time to time people mention that they have in their vehicle is a gas smell.
That's never a good one.
You left the lawnmower gas can in the trunk.
That's actually happened before.
It has?
Yeah, seriously. A customer was saying they had a gas smell, and I guess they just forgot they had a gas can in the back. There was a 5-gallon can back there, and like I said, I guess they just forgot. But
oh, no. Hey, you ready to go to Rick?
Yeah, let's go back to Rick.
Rick, welcome to the CNC Auto Show.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to tell you a quick story I had.
Sure.
I had changed my oil, and then at that time had a new air and cabin filter put in. And then 5,000 miles later, I was happened to be in North Carolina for a week of summer camp with kids and had to get my vehicle serviced. So I took it to a little hole-in-the-wall place to get the oil changed, the only place I could find. Mm-hmm. And the guy came around the corner after about 10 minutes and showed me the dirtiest air and cabin filter I'd ever seen in my life and promptly told me that I needed to replace them. And I promptly told him that he needed to put those back in the trash can that I had just replaced them. And he kind of red-faced went back around the corner. I got my oil changed for free that day, but just a word of warning, to especially ladies that go somewhere, just because someone shows you a filter doesn't necessarily mean it's yours. So,
and it says like Toyota on it, and you have a Ford.
Yeah.
Actually, this one was so dirty you couldn't tell where it came from. But anyway, it is. Sometimes these guys will do that. So, always take it to a reputable place for sure.
I really hate to hear that though, because we worked so hard during this show and doing a lot of other things to try to shed a really good light on the industry, because there's so many good people in the industry, and you hear so many stories about technicians helping somebody that was in a bad situation or broke down and going above and beyond to do stuff, and then you hear something like that, and it's really discouraging when you hear something like that. That is terrible.
But we also know that kind of service doesn't last long. Yeah. So.
But, Rick, we also appreciate you sharing it, because you are absolutely right. You want to really know you want to know the details on your car, and that's the best defense about against getting ripped off is to have the knowledge.
That's right.
There, and so and you just brought some other people some knowledge by mentioning that.
Well, listen, guys, I appreciate the show. Try to catch it every Saturday morning, and y'all keep up the good work. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
we
Rick.
appreciate it very much. The number to call, 706-863-5800, and that is from 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time, Saturday mornings. Okay, where we going?
All right, Aaron, let's go to Joyce.
Hey, Joyce, welcome to the CNC Auto Show. And I have a little, this is sort of a sad note. You know the person that plays the trumpet for us?
Blue.
No.
Well, we have a person named Blue, and he normally is here every Saturday morning. He plays a trumpet.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you've
go
heard
ahead,
Blue.
play it.
Well, Blue's off
Yep.
today.
Bad news.
Oh,
Yeah, he's somewhere in digital resorts somewhere.
well, I want an imitation then.
That's all we got.
Okay. Now, I'm reading here that you may have an answer to this tech
Oh,
tip
yes.
quiz.
I do.
Okay. All right. Now, I have my pen and I have my paper here. So call them out a little slowly so I can just kind of jot them down as you go. I'm ready.
Okay. Aztec,
Okay. Aztec,
Apache, Cherokee, Cheyenne, Dakota, Pontiac, and I'll even throw in a Seneca for good luck.
All right. Let me
That's
see.
7.
You know, you got 7.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
you know what that means, don't you?
I won.
Yeah, you did. So, and so we will have to chip in another CNC Auto Show quiz shirt. This is a T-shirt that you can have your picture taken somewhere and be eligible to win a nice prize. So you'll win all kind of good stuff. So
All right.
yeah, and so I would recommend being very careful, and you may want to go into hiding for a few days until you pick up all your prizes. And Joyce, if you'll
Okay.
stay on the line, they'll be getting all your information and giving you a secret code word to mention when you come by to get the prize.
Okay.
All right.
I better write that one down because I might forget the word.
Yeah, have that ready because it's important.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce. Appreciate the call. And the number to call, 706-863-5800, and that's 8 to 10 on Eastern Time, Saturday morning.
Had to think about where we were.
Yeah, I did. Where are we now?
All right, let's go over to Archie.
Hey, that's right. We're with Archie. Hey, Archie, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you accepting my call.
We appreciate you
have
calling, and what can we help with?
Well, I have a 2005 GMC Envoy. It has the 4.2 or the 4200cc Vortex engine. And as I was driving the other day, all of a sudden, the temperature gauge just, instead of going up, it flipped around backwards.
Oh,
That's really
Yeah,
cold
just-
then.
yeah.
Well, whenever you just switch it on you can just switch it on, and your hand should start to move up, or whenever you crank your car up and start getting it warm,
Right.
it should move up. But as soon as you switch it on, it just flips backwards.
Goes backwards. Yeah, Archie, we've seen that quite a bit on that particular instrument panel. Of course, that's in the Trailblazers and several other vehicles, Canyons, Colorados.
Right.
And unfortunately, they have a little stepper motor that controls that needle, of course, and there's a stop inside the motor that would be, say, all the way to the left, which would be cold, and all the way to the right, which would be hot. And what happens
Right.
is where the stepper stops, it'll actually go past it, and then the calibration is upside down. Honestly, I say you could try and flip it over, but chances are it would, of course, come right back, and it would go back to operating the wrong way, like what you're mentioning. So with that being said, we replace a lot of instrument clusters to correct that problem. Normally, to be honest with you, it's the fuel gauge, which is, we see that way more than the coolant gauge, but it's the same stepper
Well,
motor.
the fuel gauge has been acting crazy for
So
a
that
while.
one's on its probably on the next one to go, isn't it?
But the good news
Uh-huh.
is, at one time, you would have to buy a lot of that stuff new.
Right.
They make some very good, high-quality remanufactured parts for that now. As a matter of
They
fact,
do.
you can. Napa also has remanufactured instrument panels
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
you can get.
The only thing that kind of takes the fun out of it, out of that job for the do-it-yourselfers, of course, is it does have to be programmed, that
Yes.
cluster. But yeah, it's like you said, it's readily available. Many manufacturers remake that. So
Yeah.
And what kind of what kind of expense is it for mechanics to do it?
All right,
if I
Archie,
take it in.
I am going to lean. Now, this is a little bit going out on a limb because I don't have
Let's
all
see.
the.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about. I'm just saying the estimate. I mean, you just throw out a number. You know, if it
Now,
could be-
this is throwing it out there now. 450, 550
yeah, that's where I was going to land. Sure
would be the area that I would think that you would be in
because they are proud of them. There's no doubt about
now,
that.
Of course, that could vary, but again, that is less than it was many years ago because of.
And it's much less than an overheating engine.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. So it is one
Yeah.
of those type things I would recommend going ahead and getting. Now, of course, you could get all these other gauges all around your car.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to do that. But it's a good it's a neat job. It's not one of those type jobs you got to worry about if somebody does it that this will be changed or you'll have a rattle or you'll
Right.
have this. It's a good
Right. Well, you
clean job.
Yeah, you just you got to take the
The bezel
dash
off. That's
part,
right.
Just the part around the instrument panel.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you take it all off, put a new one on, and have it calibrate. Have it.
Yes,
then
sir.
you got to go have it put on a system somewhere.
You got it.
All right. All right. Well, I appreciate your help, and I know where to go from here.
All right, Archie.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
We do appreciate it. And the number to call, 706-863-5800, if you have a question about your car, truck, or SUV. We're talking about smells and sounds on different vehicles. And of course, one different smell that some people may have, we touched on it just a little bit earlier, has to do with a musky smell inside a car.
Yeah.
And there's several things that can do that. And here's one thing I'll mention. It's normally in the AC system when you do that. Of course, carpet and other things can.
I was going to say, I want to add 2 to this once you're done. Keep going.
But carpet and things like that getting wet can cause it. But you got to figure inside a heater box, you got moisture and it's a little wet, it's a little dark, and that can definitely grow mold.
Only thing I was going to add is something that can be forgotten is when sunroof drains stop up,
Oh, yes.
they can flood the carpet and cause a similar smell. So
Yeah, and then that can also wet computers down there.
big time.
Yeah, sunroofs drains do clog from time to time too. Okay, it is time to take a real quick break, and when we return, we will talk more about smells and sounds, and we'll answer more automotive questions. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the CNC Auto Show. We are answering automotive questions, but we're also talking about smells and sounds. A sound that we get customers come in and complain about from time to time or have concerns about have to do with ticking noises.
Oh, yeah, ticking noise. Sometimes that can't be not necessarily repaired, but of course it can be kind of a bad noise to hear.
Well, I'm going to tell you a lot of times when this happens, we find low engine oil.
Right.
It's not uncommon at all to find that the oil was low.
Yep, just a quart low or so.
Yeah, and they'll have a ticking noise like that, and you say, well, when's the last time the oil's been changed? And they say, well, I'm not really sure. And you start checking, and it's been a long period of time. So when the oil's due to be changed, that can cause ticking noises. But sometimes everything can be okay.
I'm going to throw one more in for ticking noise.
Sure.
Exhaust noise.
Yeah,
Exhaust can a lot of
just
times sound like
one.
lifters and stuff like that. So
It sure can, or a loose spark plug.
Oh,
can also
man,
make
we've
a
had
little
those
bit of
too,
a
yeah.
ticky type noise.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's
You
go
ready
over-
to go to the callers?
Yeah, let's go over to Greg.
Hello, Greg. Welcome to the CNC Auto Show, and what can we help you with this morning?
Good morning. I have a 93 Civic,
Yes.
and I actually have a gas smell inside my car when, if I'm driving and the windows are cracked or the sunroof is cracked, I mean, it smells like fuel.
Uh-huh.
I can't smell it outside, and the windows are rolled up. I don't smell it at all.
Okay. I mean, I can think of a few things. Number one, a gas can in the trunk.
That would do it.
No, Greg, any kind of check engine light or anything like that on?
No check engine light.
No check engine light. First initial thought was something in the emission system, maybe vapor canister, allowing it to vent the entire time. Now, no doubt that one does have that. So I'm wondering if it could have a faulty vent on the emission system, because that vent is not actually monitored. So that's a possibility. Greg, when you pop the engine or the hood, do you ever smell it, say more like stronger?
No.
So do you feel like it's more like towards the tank area, or hard to say?
The funny thing is, you don't really smell it outside the car.
Okay, so it's inside. That actually makes me think more oil. You know, a lot of times when you smell oil, it is like a petroleum smell, of course. It can be confused for fuel. You feel pretty confident it's definitely gasoline?
Well,
or is there a possibility it could be oil?
It could be oil.
It could. The reason I asked that is because, of course, the exhaust is on the radiator side, the very most front part of the engine, and then, of course, it actually goes under the engine. So if that vehicle had even the slightest little bit of oil leak, it does drip straight on the exhaust. Most common thing that leaks on those, that leaks engine oil, would be the valve cover gasket. Mm-hmm. Those are very common to leak. Relatively simple job. What happens is they leak. They kind of go around both sides of the transmission and drip directly on the flex pipe of the exhaust. So that's kind of which way I'm leaning. Do you ever see any, not steam, but any smoke or anything like that after a period of driving for a while?
I had the exhaust checked.
Okay.
And they didn't find any exhaust leaks or didn't say anything out of the ordinary.
Okay, gotcha.
Greg, it really don't matter whether you have a full tank of gas or a low tank of gas. It still does it the same way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just have the entire vehicle inspected for any leaks on there. For instance, usually if oil's been leaking on the exhaust, you'll see some trail of it. It'll be kind of caked up on it just a little bit. Look for that very closely, and also look very closely at the evap system.
Right, and that's a good tip too, because of course if you're looking for an oil leak and it doesn't have it, then you're going to go to fuel.
Yeah, go ahead and move over to the evap system, and you could have like a vapor canister,
right?
Or there could be something, but usually a vapor canister would be worse just after you fill up with gas.
Or once it's sat for a period of time too.
Yeah, or after it's set for a period of time. I think that's going to be one of those that it would probably be good for someone to put on a lift rack and just do a very good inspection for anything leaking, period, not only just looking for fuel, but anything at all, and looking at the evap system extra close.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
And we thank you for the call. And the number to call, 706-863-5800. And are we ready to go to Bill?
Yeah, let's go to Bill.
Hey, Bill, welcome to the show, and what can we help you with?
Well, I've got a 1999 Chevrolet two-door Tahoe. Mm-hmm. Only has 89,000 miles on it. But my alternator went out. And so I had the alternator changed, and then after we changed the alternator, I started getting my belt was squealing real bad, especially when it was cold. Mostly when it was cold, and you first crank it up. Mm-hmm. So I took it back in, and they changed the belt. I needed a new belt, so I put a new belt on it, and it still squeals. So I took it back, and they said, "Oh, okay, your belt tensioner is bad." So I put a new belt tensioner on it, and then it still squeals. I just keep throwing parts at it. I don't know what to do to stop the squealing.
Bill, I do have a quick question. So evidently, did it have a belt squeal before the alternator?
No.
Okay, so after this alternator, this is just the thinking I'm going through. There's two options for that alternator. There's a 220, which is like the police package and the 2500 series and stuff like that, and then there's the 90 amp, which is most common. It's possible that you got the wrong alternator with the wrong diameter pulley on it. And then the tensioner is operating in the wrong zone, so to speak, because the belt is either now longer or either shorter. I would assume it's shorter, being that it's longer that it's squealing.
Longer.
Yeah, and then I'm going to throw one other small thing out there. Now, that's most likely because of the fact that it was...
He's going to say he's positive it's the right one, right?
No. No, what I was wondering, I just wanted to be sure we knew that model does have a second belt on there
Second, no,
don't- that one does-
serpentine, yeah, 99.
Okay, that one
Single
does
belt.
not have the separate AC belt. Then.
No, that's 5.3.
Hey, Bill, disregard everything I just said on that part.
Well, I didn't want to let you tell them wrong information. That'd be
Well,
a
they,
5.7.
I asked them about if maybe the alternator they put on there, the pulley was smaller or something, or was the wrong size. And they told me that they matched the I forget what they said, but something like they matched the serial numbers, they matched the numbers
Well,
for the alternator.
And Bill, that's very possible, but let me tell you what we've ran into before. A lot of those are remanufactured alternators, right? Well, they might have not. They might be the right alternator. It might be the right internal components, regulator, the whole 9 yards, but the pulley might not be right. But I will tell you one tip on that belt tensioner. If you look really, really close, there's 3 lines on it. There's 2 lines on the outside of the tensioner, and there's 1 line on the inside, and that's actually the operating range of the tensioner. And if that tensioner is in that operating range, typically that means you have the right tension on the belt is the right size, and the rest of the pulleys. And I mean, it is definitely possible that the alternator is causing the squeal noise. It may take more effort to turn that alternator for whatever reason. It may have a bearing that's a little bit tighter than normal. So I think the next step is seeing if that tensioner is in the right operating range, which again, it has those 3 little lines on. And then, kind of going from there.
But they may have got the right part number, but it may not necessarily be the right alternator.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. They said that the tensioner was right up against the stop. I think is what he said.
See, that right there tells me there's definitely something wrong with a diameter or a belt.
Yeah.
And now there is 2 different belts for that vehicle also because of that same issue, the alternator being a different diameter, the pulley. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll try one of those. See what they say.
All right, Bill, give us a shout next week and let us know how it turns out.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, it does. Would you saying that? I think you hit dead on it there,
Yeah.
John Ryan. You nailed it, man. Okay. The time clock's on E. We need to pull over for now, but we'll be back on the road in no time. I'm Aaron Clements with co-host John Ryan Mooney, and our show producers are Zach Llewellyn, Bo Roberts, Dominic Frito, and Sandy Klein. We'd all like to say thank you very much for riding with us on the CNC Auto Show.